Hello, fellow soil stewards, and welcome back to the Humus Heritage. If you've been following along on our journey to build truly living soil, today I'm bringing you something that honestly sounds too good to be true, but I promise you, it works like magic. We're talking about creating your own microbial snow, a powdered amendment that literally melts into your soil and brings it roaring back to life the moment water touches it. This isn't some complicated lab procedure or expensive product you need to order online. This is something you can make right in your backyard with ingredients you probably already have on hand, and the results are nothing short of extraordinary. The winter soil secret you're missing. Here's what most gardeners don't realize. While we're all busy planning our spring gardens and dreaming about tomatoes, our soil is going through a critical transition period right now. When we think about soil amendments, we typically focus on spring preparation, tossing compost on top of beds just before planting. But fall and winter soil prep is where the real transformation happens. During the colder months, your soil's microbial population can crash dramatically. Without active plant roots feeding the microbiome through root exudates, and without regular additions of organic matter, beneficial bacteria, fungi, and other soil organisms can go dormant or die off completely. This leaves you starting from scratch come spring, which means slower plant establishment, poorer nutrient cycling, and more vulnerability to disease and pest pressure. Microbial snow changes this entire equation. By introducing dormant but viable microbes along with their favorite food source directly into the soil structure through clay particles, you're essentially seeding your soil with life that's ready to explode into action the moment conditions are right. Let's talk about what's really happening beneath your feet. Healthy soil isn't just dirt, it's actually a complex ecosystem, even more diverse than a rainforest. Every single tablespoon of vibrant soil contains billions of bacteria, miles of fungal hyphae, protozoa, nematodes, and, well, countless other organisms all working together to break down organic matter, cycle nutrients, improve soil structure, and protect your plants from pathogens. When this community thrives, your plants practically grow themselves. But here's the problem with most traditional amendments. They're inconsistent, slow to activate, or applied at the wrong time. Regular compost is fantastic, but it takes weeks or even months for the microbial populations to establish and spread through your beds. Liquid compost teas work faster, but lose viability pretty quickly and require immediate application. Commercial microbial products are expensive and, honestly, often contain limited species diversity. Microbial snow solves all these problems simultaneously. The clay acts as both a carrier and a habitat, protecting the dormant microbes while distributing them evenly throughout your soil. The sugar coating provides an immediate food source the moment water activates the system. And because the microbes are dormant, you can make this in bulk, store it indefinitely, and apply it exactly when and where you need it. Creating your microbial snow starts with understanding that you're essentially making a time-release capsule of soil life. The foundation is finely powdered clay, which you can create by taking dry clay soil, crushing it thoroughly, and sifting it through a fine screen until you have a dust-like consistency. If you don't have clay-rich soil, bentonite clay from a farm supply store works perfectly. For your microbe source, high-quality finished compost or worm castings are ideal because they contain thousands of beneficial species already proven to thrive in soil environments. The sugar component is critical, and this is where you cannot cut corners. Use only unsulfured blackstrap molasses. Regular molasses often contain sulfur as a preservative, and sulfur is absolutely lethal to the microorganisms you're trying to cultivate. For water, you need dechlorinated sources because chlorine, added to municipal water to kill bacteria, will do exactly that to your beneficial microbes too. The brewing process begins by filling a 5-gallon bucket with about 4.5 gallons of your dechlorinated water. Dissolve approximately 3.5 cups of unsulfured blackstrap molasses into this water, stirring thoroughly until it's completely incorporated. Take about 2 cups of your compost or worm castings and place them into a fine mesh strainer or nylon stocking, then submerge this bag into your molasses water. This technique keeps the solids contained while allowing the microbes to swim free into the liquid. If you have an aquarium air pump and air stone, place the stone in the bucket and run it continuously. This aeration is important because it ensures you're multiplying aerobic, beneficial microbes rather than anaerobic ones that can cause problems. Let this mixture brew in a warm location out of direct sunlight for 24 to 48 hours. You'll know it's ready when it develops a pleasant, slightly earthy or sweet smell, almost like beer or fresh bread. Once your microbe tea is fully brewed, go ahead and remove the compost bag and set it aside for your regular garden use. Now comes the coating process, which is actually simpler than it sounds, but, it does require a bit of attention to consistency. Slowly pour your liquid microbial culture over your prepared clay dust while mixing continuously. What you're really aiming for is a texture where every single particle of clay is coated, but you don't want the mixture to turn into thick mud. Think of it kind of like making moist sand that you could build a sandcastle with, but definitely not soup. The exact ratio is going to depend a bit on your clay type, but generally, you'll use about 1 gallon of liquid per 5 to 6 cups of clay powder. Mix thoroughly to make sure you've got an even distribution, then spread this damp mixture thinly across a flat surface, like a large tray or a clean tarp in a shaded area. Direct sunlight can actually overheat and kill your microbes, so it's best to keep things in the shade or even indoors if you can. Allow the mixture to air dry completely, which typically takes anywhere from 1 to 3 days, depending on humidity. As it dries, just break up any clumps periodically so you end up with a nice, fine, powdery consistency. During this drying process, the microbes enter dormancy. They're essentially going to sleep, but they're still viable and totally ready to spring back to life. Once your microbial snow is completely dry and powdered, you can store it in airtight containers in a cool, dark location where it'll remain viable for months. Application couldn't be simpler, but, timing does matter. For fall and winter applications, sprinkle your microbial snow over prepared beds after your harvest is complete, but before heavy freezes set in. The powder will sit on the soil surface, and each time it rains or you water, a portion dissolves and carries those dormant microbes down into the soil profile. You can also apply it in early spring, about 2 to 3 weeks before planting, to give your microbial community time to establish. For targeted applications, just dust it around the base of established plants, work it into new planting holes, or even sprinkle it on your lawn. The beauty is in the flexibility and, honestly, the fact that you can't really overdo it. More microbial diversity is always better for soil health. See the difference. Long-term benefits and next steps. The transformations you'll witness are both immediate and long-lasting. Within just days of application and watering, the clay particles begin breaking down, the sugars dissolve, and those dormant microbes wake up hungry and ready to work. Within weeks, you'll notice improved soil structure as fungal hyphae begin networking through your beds, and bacterial populations really start to explode. By the following growing season, plants in microbial snow-treated areas will show noticeably more vigorous growth, deeper green foliage, better drought tolerance, and increased resistance to diseases. The reason is simple. You've rebuilt the underground workforce that makes nutrients available, improves water retention, and creates the soil aggregates that give roots room to breathe and grow. This is soil building at its finest, combining ancient wisdom about clay's properties with modern understanding of microbiology, all wrapped up in a technique so simple that anyone can do it. I encourage you to experiment, observe the results in your own garden, and share your experiences with our community. If this guide has sparked your interest in building truly living soil, make sure you subscribe to the Humus Heritage so you never miss our soil building strategies. Share this video with your gardening friends because healthy soil is the foundation of everything we grow, and together we can cultivate not just gardens, but a deeper understanding of the living earth beneath our feet. Now get out there and make some microbial snow.